If
Thank you very much, Ame. Hello, friends. Once again, my name is Sonny. I'm an alcoholic. On behalf of the Welcome Group, I would like to welcome you all to our daily online meetings, which we hold between 6 to 8 p.m. Indian Standard Time, 7 days a week. And friends, today is 29th of May. It's a Saturday. And as you know, we have lady speakers with us. Today's no exception. We have 3 speakers with us. Our first speaker will be sharing with us on faith, hope, and courage. For this, we have Ruby. Ruby is 27 months sober from Daily Meds every weekday morning, 8 till 9:15 group, London, England. And Ruby will be with us from 6:15 Indian Standard Time till 6:45 for 30 minutes. After that, our second speaker will be sharing on growing along spiritual lines. For this, we have Dawn D. Dawn D is 9 years sober from Floral Group, Saskatoon, Canada. And again, Dawn will be with us for 30 minutes until 7:15 p.m. Our third and final speaker is Brenda, who will be sharing with us on Came to Believe. Brenda is 12 years sober from Sobriety Through Action Group, Maryland, USA. Again, Brenda will be with us for 30 minutes. And friends, we should have plenty of time at the end for any questions or comments that you may have for our speakers. Hopefully, our 3 speakers will stay with us till the end. I hope that's okay with everybody. And without taking up any more time, Ruby, if you can hear me, welcome to the meeting. Welcome to this group, and if you can hear me, please unmute yourself and the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Sonny. Good afternoon. My name's Ruby and I'm an alcoholic and an addict. Thank you so much for asking me to share. It's a bit weird. I don't often get nervous, but I'm on a Zoom with people from all over the world. How lovely is that? How lovely that AA and all the other fellowships come from all over the world. I was quite comforted when I saw my friend Vera, and also I just saw somebody from Trinidad. How lovely is that? I'm from a tiny little place in England called Gloucester, and my family were only one of 2 black families in Gloucester. So it was a bit like living in a goldfish bowl. I moved to London when I was 16 because I went to ballet school. I was in the entertainment industry, so I was a professional singer for 26 years. And I moved to London when I was 17 and went to ballet school, and everything was fine. And I would say, you know, that kind of first addiction was food and speed and all sorts of weird and wonderful things. Because I was in the entertainment industry, it was absolutely normal. And I used to, there's this drink called Liebfraumilch, and it's the cheapest bottle of wine you can get. And I would just drink that. It was revolting, but I wanted to change the way I felt. So I would drink that. Along with drink came drugs, and being in the entertainment industry, it was the norm. Everywhere I went, it was the norm. That's what people did. And so I just went along with it, which was, you know, at first I just didn't want to do it. I just thought that drinking was fine. That's all I wanted to do was to just drink. And then when drinking stopped working for me, I kind of added speed, and then I added cocaine, and then it just, you know, I remember the first time that I took my first drug, and it did for me what I couldn't do. It gave me confidence. I felt beautiful. I felt accepted. I felt confident. I felt smart and intelligent and funny and all of those things. And quite frankly, I think I was a bore. But what I did after that, I mean, you know, I stayed in the entertainment industry for 26 years. I was in a show in the West End in England, in the West End, called Porgy and Bess. And I was on stage, and I wondered why everybody was looking at me. And I thought it was, obviously I was doing a great job. And I didn't realize that I'd cut my head because I was off my face. I'd cut my face and there was blood pouring down my face, and I was on stage. It's an audience that paid a lot of money to see us. And needless to say, I was asked to leave. And of course, I was devastated and offended, and I couldn't believe that they would ask me to leave, because obviously it wasn't my fault. I hadn't done anything wrong. There was nothing wrong with me. I was absolutely convinced that there was nothing wrong with me, because I was one of those kind of people that could stop for a little while, but I couldn't stay stopped. And so, of course, I'm not an addict. I'm not a drunk. I thought that, I wasn't a street drunk, so there's nothing wrong with me. I could stop, but I couldn't stay stopped. So I'm not, I'm definitely not an alcoholic. And this went on for years and years and years until what happened is I was kind of thrown out of the entertainment industry after 26 years, very successful career, traveled all over the world, did lots of shows in England, in the West End, as we call it. And it was great. There were no consequences, but I retrained as a plumber. I mean, that's a consequence in itself, really. Going from being a professional singer to being on stage, traveling all over the world, to becoming a plumber. How does that work? Insanity. That's how that worked. It was completely insane. But I carved out a very successful career as a female plumber. There were very few female plumbers here, and that worked for a while as well. I remember one time I was doing a bathroom, and I was doing the tiling, and I hid a bottle of vodka underneath the bath. And the next day, the owners found this bottle of vodka, and I blamed somebody else because I had people working for me. And I was in such denial. I told them it was somebody else's, and I managed to get away with it, which was awful, really. But I managed to get away with it. Anyway, this went on for years and years. And then one day, I literally had enough. There was no big aha moment, or there was no big epiphany. There was no big bells and whistles. I didn't have 15 bottles of vodka stashed anywhere. It wasn't like that. I just had enough. I'd had enough of the lies, the deceit, the money, the lack of money. I was one of those people that didn't lose my job. I didn't lose my home. I didn't lose my family. But I then, since coming into the fellowship, I had learned that I haven't lost my home yet. I haven't lost my family yet. I haven't lost all the things that I hold dearly. I hadn't lost them yet. I'm not a street drunk yet. I'm not any of those things yet. As long as I stay in this fellowship, then I won't be all of those things. And I have to remember that it is a yet. I haven't done those things yet. So there, one Friday afternoon, I just had enough. I think I'd had very little sleep. I stank. I was just doing too much of everything. And I literally had kind of surrendered. And I went to my first meeting. And of course, I went to my first meeting, and the first thing I saw was God. And I just thought, oh, God, here we go. I went to a Catholic convent school, and my mother was a Jehovah's Witness. So that side of me was dormant. I just didn't want to know anything about it. And I thought it was a cult, and I thought everybody was going to, take me away and lock me up. And I don't know what. I just didn't like it. I didn't like the word God, and I wasn't prepared to open my mind up to it at the very beginning. But I kept on coming back. We say at the beginning or at the end of meetings, keep coming back. It works if you work it. And I didn't like any of those cliches saying, but now that I've been in for a while, I totally understand where they come from. So last year, 18 months in, I kind of had an understanding. I had surrendered. I'd gone through 3 or 4 sponsors because I thought I knew best. I knew better than anybody and everybody. And my sponsors were suggesting all sorts of things, and I wasn't doing it. Why do I have to make the tea? Why should I have to make the tea? Why do I have to put the chairs out? Why am I doing things like that? Why are you asking me to do stuff like that? I didn't like it, didn't want to do it. Who do you think you are asking me to do stuff like that? And then I realized that there has to be a bit of humility in me somewhere, and a sense of discipline, and a sense of unity and service, and all of those things. And, I've learned to stay in that triangle: unity, service, and recovery. I understand it now. And I've done those things. But unfortunately, at 18 months clean and sober, I was diagnosed with high-grade ovarian cancer. And it was a huge shock. My whole world had just fallen out. It just come, you know, what I thought I was going to die. It was horrendous. And this was during lockdown. This was lockdown last year. And the first thing I wanted to do was just perfect excuse to buy a bottle of vodka. Perfect excuse. But I didn't. And, you know, they say keep coming back. And I did. I kept on coming back. And, you know, 7, 8 months on, I'm still here. I haven't picked up a drink or a drug. I am I say kind of in remission. I'm waiting to hear about some things. But I guess what I did in that time is I really got stuck into the fellowship, because I was faced with something to me was catastrophic, being diagnosed with ovarian cancer, and it had spread. I was told that I had an 80% chance of survival, but also an 80% chance of reoccurrence, which is pretty terrifying. And because it had spread so far, it's pretty advanced, I had to have chemotherapy. I lost my hair, which incidentally, it's quite interesting because I've got a 16-year-old daughter, and I've always said to my daughter, beauty comes from within. Beauty comes from within. You could be a very attractive person, but if you're, you know, physically you could be a beautiful person, but if you're not inside, it doesn't mean anything. And I've always said that to my daughter. So I'm faced at this point with having to talk the talk and walk the walk. And I've been telling my daughter all of this stuff, and suddenly I was faced with having to, I had dreadlocks down to here, slim, thin, beautiful dreadlocks. I loved them, really long hair, loved it. And suddenly I had to have my head shaved because I didn't want to be somebody that my hair was falling out in the shower and all that kind of stuff. So I decided that I would take control and I would shave my head. And I had to really, really dig deep. And this is when my recovery came in. Because I had to dig deep, and I did the serenity prayer, and I said the step 3 prayer, and I did all these prayers. I did loads of positive affirmations, and I'm like, please, apart from don't make me look too bad with no hair, and just have the courage to be okay with whatever happens the other side of having no hair. I mean, I would imagine not just for myself, but any woman or any guy who loses their hair, at first it's devastating. And when I had my head shaved, I sat and I had some speakers speaking in the background, and my daughter was sitting there. They shaved my head. Thank goodness I've got a decent shaped head. That's all I can say. I've got a decent shaped head, so life wasn't so bad after all. And everybody was telling me, you know, it looks all right, it looks all right. I've got used to it now, but I couldn't have done it without this fellowship. And at first I was so angry with my higher power. I was so angry with my higher power. I was promised a life beyond my wildest dreams. And then I was struck with this. And so I was really angry. Fortunately enough, everybody in the fellowship and my daily meds meeting said, you know, you can borrow our God until you find your own God, because I was too mad with mine. I didn't understand. And so people loaned me their God, and they prayed for me. And there were times when people prayed for me, and I just thought, what's the point? Why are you praying for me? If there is a God, why has this happened? But there was also a part of me that thought, I can't say why me, because my next question would be, why not me? It could happen to any one of us. Why not me? Why not me? Because I just wasn't expecting it. And I can't imagine that anybody with cancer is going, oh yeah, I thought that was going to happen. But I guess my through line is that I couldn't have done it without everybody. And so I went through the surgery and I did all of those things. I never missed a meeting, even in hospital in my lovely hospital gown. I still came to every single meeting because I needed to. And I made a promise to my sponsor when I finally settled with a sponsor. I made a promise to my sponsor that he said to me, are you prepared to go to any lengths? And I said yes. And initially I said yes because I was so desperate. I just didn't want to drink or take drugs anymore. I'd had enough. And he said, are you prepared to go to any lengths? Yes, 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 yes. Are you prepared to pass the message on? And I, yes, 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 whatever you say. And here I am You know, 27 months, that's 2 years and 3 months. I'm very proud of my 2 years and 3 months. One day at a time, I am very proud of my, because there was a time when there wasn't a day that went by that I didn't drink or take drugs. There wasn't a day. And every single day I'd wake up with a raging hangover or just being totally fucked, excuse my French. And I every day I promised myself, I'm not going to do it today. I'm not going to do it today. I'd go to work and I'd get through the day. And by 3 o'clock, I'm thinking, okay, on my way home, I could tell you what bottle shops, what route I could take to get to certain bottle shops, and then, you know, ring a dealer and, you know, have it delivered to my door. It was just ridiculous. But that was the life. And finding those bottle shops, and also I had to go to different ones. I think we've all done it. We go to different ones because we don't want the bottle shop owners to know us. And interestingly enough, I went into a bottle shop last week because my partner went to buy some stuff. And the guy behind the counter said to her, "Where's your friend?" And I was there. He says, "Where's your friend?" And she's like, "Who?" And he said, "Ruby, where's Ruby?" And I went, "I'm here." He hadn't seen me for years. And also I'd lost 5 stone in weight. So he didn't recognize me. And also I didn't have any hair. So he didn't recognize me. I felt fantastic. I was so glad that the guy didn't recognize me. It would be a bit of a worry if he did. And, you know, that was one of those moments where I just thought, thank God. You know, each day I just think, thank God, I just don't drink anymore. And how lovely to not have to rely on a drink or a drug, and not wake up the next day going, what the fuck did I do last night? Who did I upset? How much did I do? Where are the bottles? I used to hide everything in the bottom of the garden. We've got a shed or a garage or an outhouse. So I don't know what any of you guys call it, but we call it a shed. And I would hide it at the bottom in the hope that I could save it for the next day. I'll just save a little bit for the next day. And inevitably I'd be going back and forth, and, you know, it was just horrendous. It was just ugly. So 2 years on, I've still managed to stay clean and sober. And it's taken me a long time to realize how courageous I am. And it's, you know, it's not easy day to day. It isn't easy. And recently I had severe dizzy spells, and they thought that the cancer had come back and had hit my brain. And so I had to have a brain scan. Fortunately enough, it hasn't. However, they do think that cancer has come back, but they don't know where. So I've had a scan and they are waiting. I'm waiting for results. I get the results on the 7th of June. But what I've noticed throughout this is that I've got this serenity about me. And I know that I would never have the serenity if it wasn't for this fellowship. I wouldn't have a stillness and a calmness about me that it wasn't for this fellowship. Because the reality is that no matter what the outcome is, I'm going to be all right. You know, one day at a time, I am going to be okay, no matter what the outcome is. Yes, there are moments that I wake up in, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning and start planning my own funeral, which is a totally grand affair because I like to create drama. You know, as an addict and an alcoholic, I do like to create drama. So of course my funeral is going to be a fabulous affair. But there are moments, at silly o'clock in the morning that I do get scared, and, I've got tools. I am armed with the facts. I've got the tools in my psyche, in my mind, in my soul, in my heart to tell me that it's okay. I've got so many meditations, so many prayers that I can tap into to just tell me that everything's going to be okay. I can't believe that I'm like this because it's just not me. I am, the reason why I was in the entertainment industry is because I'm a drama queen. I love a bit of drama. And here I am faced with the biggest drama of my life. And I'm facing the biggest drama of my life with peace and serenity and acceptance. Acceptance. There's a bit in the book. It's one of my favorite readings, and I'm sure everybody reads it, but it is my favorite reading, and it's at the back of the book. I'm going to find it, so bear with me. But it is about acceptance. And at first, It's about the acceptance of people, places, and things that used to bug me. We can't change people, places, and things. And that's what I struggle with. You know, it's that actor that wants to direct everything. And if we don't direct everything, then we're in trouble. There it is. Okay, let me find my glasses. I'm just going to read this because it's one of my favorite readings. And I apologize if everybody's heard it before, but it's my favorite one. And acceptance is the answer to all my problems today. When I am disturbed, it is because I find some person, place, thing, or situation, some fact of my life unacceptable to me. And I can find no serenity until I accept that person, place, thing, or situation as being exactly the way it is supposed to be at that moment. Nothing, absolutely nothing happens in God's world by mistake. Until I could accept my alcoholism, I could not stay sober. Unless I accept life completely on life's terms, I cannot be happy. I need to concentrate not so much on what needs to be changed in the world as to what needs to be changed in me and in my attitude. I love that reading, and it is very apt for me. And I say I need to, and it says I need to concentrate not so much on what needs to be changed, but on the world. It's just what needs to be changed in me. And until I accept my alcoholism, I could not stay sober. I love that. Unless I accept completely life on life's terms. And I think that's what keeps me still and calm. I've accepted life on life's terms. Nobody told me any of this, you know, nobody said that this was going to be okay, but I have had to learn to accept life on life's terms. When I was in hospital, this nurse came into me because I had to be put in isolation because I was very sick whilst I was going through chemotherapy. And she said to me, it's just a bump in the road. It's just a minor bump in the road. And before, this would be a massive drama. And to her, I said to her, it feels like I've got a mountain to climb and I'm at the bottom of the mountain and I haven't done it. Now, today, I feel like I've climbed that mountain and I'm coming out the other side and my life is good. I have a good life. And I didn't realize how good my life was until I was faced with something like that. You know, I had to grieve the loss of the life that I had, but I also had to embrace the life that I have now. And I've had to simplify it. I've had to completely change my diet, which was the most difficult thing. I'm such a meat eater, but I've had to completely change my diet to a vegan vegetarian diet. And it's going okay. I'm sponsoring, and that really helps with my recovery. I have a lovely sponsor and sponsee, and I have a fantastic sponsor. I went through several sponsors until I found a male sponsor, unusually enough. And he was 16 years clean and sober. And I just wanted what he had because he also had gone through cancer 3 times. And he's in remission now. But when I got sick, I felt like I needed a woman to guide me through this. And so now I have a female sponsor who is amazing. We don't live in the same country. And that's the beauty of Zoom, is that we're able to speak to people from all over the world. How lovely is that? How lovely that we can. I just can't believe that I'm here in London, in my bedroom, talking to people from Ireland, from Trinidad, from Canada, from South Africa. How cool is that? From Florida. It'd be lovely if I could go to those places. And you know what? The beauty about these things is that I could go anywhere in the world, and hook up with somebody. You know, I had planned to go to Texas before we all got locked down. I'd planned to go to Texas to see my sister. And I'd already got meetings lined up for me to go to. Amazing. How lucky. Truly, truly blessed. You know, it's interesting doing a meeting in India, you know, because I'm very aware of what's going on in India. And it just makes me feel, you know, we don't realize how lucky we are until we see how difficult it is for other people. And, you know, I'm all right. I'm all right. I don't know what else to say except I'm all right thanks to this meeting. I can say with my hand on my heart, I'm an extremely courageous person. I have hope. and I have faith now. I didn't have faith for a very, very long time. Even when I first started these meetings, I had absolutely no faith whatsoever. And then when I was diagnosed, I lost that faith, you know, and I kind of pick up my higher power and put my higher power down. And the other day the other week I went away for the weekend, and I was sat at the beach and I was watching the waves go in and out. And I remember somebody saying to me, these waves are like your thoughts, and your thoughts come and go. And when you're trying to meditate, your thoughts come and go. So you allow the thoughts in and then you just let them go. And then you allow another thought to come in and then you let them go. And that's a bit how I was with my higher power. But something happened recently where I said to my God, of my own understanding, I'm really sorry that I've been a bit flaky, but, you know, I'm still here. So if you could walk with me, then I'd be very grateful. And, you know, my God isn't the kind of Christian God, because that's what I was brought up with. And I kind of resented it because I went to a Catholic convent, and quite frankly, the nuns weren't very pleasant. But now I have found a peace, a serenity, a faith, a hope, a lot of courage, massive cojones. And one day at a time, I stay clean and sober, thank goodness. I've still got my family. My daughter is, I'm kind of waffling because I don't know what else to say. I'm happy, I'm clean, I'm sober, and I'm really grateful for everything I have. I'm grateful to be on this meeting. It's lovely to see people from all over the place. If there's anybody new, I was told to get a sponsor. When I first got a sponsor, I didn't really understand what that meant. I thought I was going to be paid. I thought sponsorship was somebody that pays me to go through the book, and they say go through the book. And I just thought, you know what, when I come in, I'm going to stay for 12 weeks. I decided 12 weeks, one step a week, and then I can come out the other side and drink like a lady. I don't think I've ever drank like a lady. I did, however, think that if I bought expensive wine, then that doesn't count. So, you know, if I drink expensive wine, then that doesn't count. I'm not really an alcoholic. I'm not really an addict, but that didn't work either. And then I decided that I would drink vodka, but I drank vodka and Coke. So I changed that. And I thought, if I drink vodka and cranberry juice, that's good for you. So I'll change it to vodka cranberry juice. That means I'm not an addict. I mean, the insanity of it all, the insanity of how I thought that I could do it without you guys. I thought I could do it without you guys. I tried hypnotherapy. I had cognitive behavioral therapy. I did geographicals. I lived in Japan because I thought if I lived in Japan, then there are definitely no alcoholics there. There are no addicts in Japan. I still managed to find something. You know, I've managed to find, you know, it's easy to get alcohol in Japan. In fact, sometimes vodka is cheaper than beer in Japan. I moved to Japan, I moved to Australia, I lived in Canada, I've been to the States, tried to do everything. And the reality is no matter where I live, I'm still faced with myself. And what the fellowship has done for me is allowed me to hold a mirror up to myself. And whereas when I first came in, I couldn't dare look at myself because I was so disgusted with what I'd done to myself. I couldn't look at myself. Now I can look at myself and go, okay, I'm all right. I'm doing okay. I'm doing okay. And I'm able to help other people. How lovely to be able to do that. And, you know, they say, don't regret the past or don't shut the door on it. I was so ashamed of my behavior. And now that my past behavior can help other people. How weird is that? How did I think that crawling around on the floor, trying to pick up specks of shit, which I thought was cocaine, or draining bottles that were completely empty, how does me sharing that information with you guys help other people? Well, you know, it gives people identification. I was thinking, what is it that I would like to have known when I first came in? Because when I first came into the rooms, I was absolutely terrified, full of shame, full of guilt. And I would say to anybody that's new, just, it's okay. You found the right place, you struck gold. If you found this meeting, you're meant to be here. All I could say is to listen to other people, listen to the similarities, not the differences. immediately I came onto this meeting and I immediately found the differences. And I just thought, I'm in India, I'm not Indian. All I can see is men. Now, look, there's a room full of beautiful women, thank goodness, and beautiful men as well, which I'm very grateful for, obviously. You know, I did try to look for the differences, which is my default button. But, you know, we've all got that hole in our soul that we try to fill with mind-altering substances. And that hole for me is a little bit smaller. It's a little bit smaller. I'm really grateful, and thank you so much for asking me to share. I can't believe I've talked for nearly half an hour. Oh gosh, I'm bored of my own voice already. Thank you so much, everybody. God bless you, and I hope you got something from that. If you didn't, keep coming back. Thank you.
Wow, Ruby, thank you so much for such a powerful, inspiring sharing. Thank you so much. I will just start off with saying, stick to cranberry juice only. That is perfect. It's good for you. And if you will allow me, I'll just want to share a couple of things that you said in your sharing. You started off with, you kept mentioning that it was addiction, not alcoholism. You also said that I was not an addict. I was not a drunk. You actually reminded me of me. Exactly the same thing. I always thought, and I still do sometimes, think that I am not a drunk, I'm not an alcoholic, I don't have an addiction. And then, but enough of the lies, enough of the deceit, but these are all the negatives. I just want to concentrate on the positives that you mentioned. You said that your family was always there. Your job was still there. AA showed you the way. AA showed you how to keep coming back. Above all, your sponsor and your higher power has always been there with you. You have the tools. Ruby, in fact, indeed, you are courageous. And like you said, one day at a time. That's what works. Thank you so much for your wonderful sharing. Please stay with us till the end. I'm sure there will be people who are in this meeting who will want to speak to you at the end. So please stay with us. Friends, I'm going to turn the recording off and restart.